Welcome to Breaking Up, a podcast about breakups, love, and pop culture. I'm Isabella Shields.
And I'm Adam Benmakhlouf.
Because Adam's availability is limited in the next few weeks, I'll be joined by a guest in our next episode to recommend some films, TV shows, music, and books to help you cope with heartbreak and focus on the upside of breaking up. But in this episode, it's the original Grissom Twosome, answering Agony questions that you've emailed in and DM'd us.
Just a little aside. I have been briefed on what is coming up next week, and it's so exciting. The person that's come up with it is so clever. I'm really into it, and I would love to tell you what it is, but we're going to keep it a secret.
We're going to keep it a secret.
But it's great. It appeals to me on many levels.
Maybe you can be in the part 2 of it, Adam. Who knows? I'll need to check the schedule. But yeah, we're keeping it pretty naughties, and I won't say anything apart from that. We've got Agony questions coming in hot and heavy. If you'd want to send us in any Agony questions, which I'd love, you can find the podcast at Breaking Up Podcast on Instagram, and you can email breakinguppodcast@gmail.com, so please fire them in, because I love to hear them. And this is also a good opportunity to say that we're not experts.
No. I think of myself as an expert, but like in a legal sense, I'm not going to hold myself to that sense of responsibility.
Yeah, we're not accountable in any way for your relationship or your relationship situation.
No.
We just love to talk to you about it.
That's it. We're just like little on the shoulder, angel devil. We switch it when we want to.
Yeah, formerly described as podcast bastard by Adam.
Yeah.
Let's see who's going to be the podcast bastard this week.
I hope it's me.
It normally is.
Yeah,
Unless it comes to cheating, in which case apparently I'm there. I'm the one. Last time we did an Agony episode, it was with Ailish, and I ended up giving advice to the person who was cheating about who they should break up with.
If you happen to be listening, you cheater.
I derailed the whole conversation to be like, look. But we're going to try and keep it a little bit more moral, a bit more ethical on this round. Are you ready for the first question?
I'm ready.
Okay, I really like this one.
Okay.
In terms of interest, not because I think it's cool.
Okay.
My girlfriend's like a completely different person around different people, and I noticed it a bit before, but now I'm finding it pretty bizarre. I know that everyone can be a little bit different around people they don't know, or they just have different dynamics set up with other people in their lives, but it's making me feel like I can't trust her because it's quite extreme. Is this worth breaking up over?
It could be. I totally relate to that feeling of the person doing it, which is like you kind of build up this relationship with the person you're going out with where you're a little bit different because it's maybe a bit more tender and like a bit more vulnerable, and then you'll be in a different situation and you're kind of like you're a bit sharper. I don't know, and don't know the ins and outs of it. But I always like cringe so much when I feel myself doing it, when I'm not being like, I just like continuous, consistent, authentic version of myself that's authentic. It's a bit of an oxymoron, but I think, I can kind of see it from both sides, but essentially like, if you really feel like you're getting a different version of that person, I think the question is, if you're getting a kind of insight into who that person really is, that's different than getting a kind of like real fake version, you know?
Yeah, but I feel like this is a deal breaker. I feel like this would skeeve me out massively. I'm so inside of like end it, because I think nothing's more uncomfortable than seeing someone's like affectations and how they change. I find it really, like when you said cringe inducing when you can like feel it happening to yourself, I think everybody does it to some extent. But I think, especially coming from an English lit background, there are just like some people who behave like they're in a book, and there are some people that just like ham it up. I also remember getting in like a huge fight when I was like 13 because one of my friends, who I'm still friends with to this day, behaved so differently around boys. Like they literally like put on a completely different voice. And like changed everything about herself, and like that was obviously because she was a teenage girl who wanted boys to fancy her and like was, like in the mood to just be a little like a little girl like kicking about all the time with a female friend. And I remember like it is that sense of someone like behaving authentically or inauthentically, and Oh, I don't know. I think I would just be too skeeved out if it's that different. The word
Yeah,
extreme is what makes me like approach
yeah.
this with more caution, but I would love to find out what she's doing.
It's yeah, I would like to know that because I can really like project all over it what I think I would do in that situation. But yeah, can feel how that is different for everyone in a big way. I
Uh-huh.
think I'm trying to work out because I don't think it's annoying, but essentially I think the bigger principal point is just like being with someone who like struggles with their confidence to that extent that they can't just kind of roll out the kind of person they are all the time. But I also know that there are just some people that like you just have like a level you can go to that other people just can't get to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like you can only get to that like when you're having like the kind of conversation you might have with a person like that. And I'm thinking of you,
I
and
know.
just in case they get it, and I think that's a kind of different kettle of fish because that's just like no one else can do that. Like I could try and
Yeah.
like have that like the conversations we have with someone else, but it'd just be like, why can't you do this? why aren't you being funny? You know, like and that's a bit different, I think. And but I don't necessarily think that's what's happening here. Potentially, could be.
No. I think the other thing to be like quite wary of is like code
Mm,
switching in terms of like
mm,
dialects. Like if someone's speaking to someone who's from a background that's like more similar to theirs, and then someone who's from a background that isn't, and like how that changes literally like, their accent and their affectation, then that's something to like be conscious of, I would say.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Because
it's
like, oh yeah, I find that so uncomfortable and so gross.
yeah, I
And
definitely
like,
feel it gross, like in the direction of like someone. I'm just thinking of like would be like someone pretending to be like Cockney and being very middle
but like
class, you
we
know?
have that in Glasgow so badly with just like guys
Yeah.
that go to the art school and then decide that they're gonna like
Mm.
develop a Scottish accent, and not just Scottish but like thick central Glaswegian accent, and say things like yeah Wisney but in like Edinburgh and Fife like intonation. And then like the same thing with people, because I've noticed this so much, it drives me fucking crazy. Like people, and it's such a stupid like reverse
Yeah.
snobbery thing, and kind of a
Yeah.
snobbery thing as well. But like people who come up from England and say "use guys," like as if that's part of their vernacular at all, or even part of their like class vernacular, because I
Yeah.
find it so condescending, and so I just think it's so weird. Like especially
Yeah.
as well if it's someone I went to school with and then I bump into them and they're like I'm trying to pretend they're not like woefully middle class, which I
Mm.
am, and I know that they are. And it's
Sense
this
it.
weird like
Yeah.
turning like a different class background into a costume
Mm.
thing for like
Mm.
social points when you don't actually have to go through
Yeah.
anything that socialization
Yeah.
implies.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for me, just like seeing it happen the other way around, I'm just totally fine with it. That's the thing. It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you've got to like circulate sometimes in really kind of like inhospitable environments as a person that maybe doesn't have like that accent or speak that way, and like you do have to affect it just to be listened to. And the other way around is just like,
Yeah, because I think the
don't
other way
even.
it's like an access thing, but
Yeah,
it is putting like it's like social costumery the other
yeah.
way, and it's like for
It's really
points
gross.
in a way that's really weird. I don't know, it's such like
It's just
insecurity thing. I just
having it's just absolutely wanting to disguise like your vast privilege and
uh-huh.
wanting to kind of gain some kudos that like yeah you have like an earthiness or yeah it's very complicated. If that was what was happening in this relationship, it would be absolutely grounds to sack her. Yeah,
Yeah, agreed.
yeah,
Hard agreed. If it's
yeah,
happening the other way, I don't think it is at all. If it's happening in the way you
yeah,
described, not at all.
yeah,
But if it's like this sort of like queasy, like, oh, I'm so nervous around some people, and then just like, but that's when things really grates on me. Like when it's part of the like making yourself small as a woman thing,
yeah.
I think, where you suddenly
Mm.
you just like can't do anything for yourself. You can't like hold a conversation. Everything has to be like handed to you, and I've noticed it's kind of an English lit thing, especially Victorian studies, guys. Okay, Victorian studies, you need to cool it. But just what I really don't like is like the pretensions to like fayness and like wispiness that are completely like unnatural, frankly. Or someone's like, oh, I just forgot, or like, oh my god, I totally spaced. No one does that. And I know that the people that do forget things all the time and like do get worried about it because of anxiety or something like that are really like, I completely forgot. I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
Not like, and like I really don't like it. I really find it overwhelmingly grating. But I wish I knew what this person was doing.
Yeah. I was just the phrase that came to mind there was like inconsiderateness as an aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like, that's
yes.
You're really getting behind that.
And then they're also the kind of people that like say something like remarkably offensive in a group setting, and then actively didn't understand that it was offensive.
Oh,
yeah. Really, I'm not vibing with this girl or this girlfriend, whoever they are.
It does really ride against a lot of, I feel like, the things that we share a lot of our principles on, which is just that you don't be fake and you just be real. You know, like essentially that's it. And it just is even saying like be real there, I felt like conscious of like that not being something I would say. And, like just being authentic. And I think it's interesting because I've definitely I felt it in different senses. Like, you know, when even in moments like that, do you ever like dumb what you say down a bit? Like, because you know you're going to sound, if you like saying be real instead of being authentic or something. Like, and I think even that level,
it comes off so phony. I think when you are dumbing yourself down, it feels phony, like looks phony. You can see it on someone's face when they're saying it; they don't believe it. If you know what I mean. When you went be real, there I was like, is this an extension of like the Crystal's persona? But one thing I was going to say as well is like one of the most off-putting things I've seen is when someone becomes like very regressive around their family.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like literally, like tantrum throwing. Like I find that like scary and strange.
It's very scary. I think, and there's a kind of like I feel like it's okay to kind of do that a bit and be a young adult. But then if you just kind of like project that forward into someone's 30s and like their 40s and just how disturbing that is. Because at a certain point, like you know, they don't owe you anything anymore, and you have to let those bad feelings go.
And you just can't be babied. Like,
there's just so many versions of like, and it's interesting because I keep going to like inauthentic self, but I guess just like, being some little kind of like supporting cast version of yourself that doesn't often come out, and I think it's just really important to
it's so funny
shed
supporting
them.
cast as well, because I was thinking of like the sense that someone's like auditioning all the time, like auditioning to be like part of the right group or like part of this, because I think what the person said when they mentioned like, I know that everyone's different around different people, I think that's really true. Like everyone's got like a different like sort of archive of like jokes and everything with different people, and they'll play up to them, and they'll play up to like the sort of role they have in a friendship group or in a certain dynamic. But not to the point where you're like a new character this week.
I think like you say, you've picked up on the kind of two biggest flags in that, which is it's extreme, and they also like are aware that some version of this behavior like everyone does, so it's kind of beyond both those things. And in that way it does really sound like it's grounds for dismissal if you can't kind of like talk about it and just, you know, bring them with you on this journey and just be like, you know, I think I really enjoy the time I spend with you, but there's just this inconsistency that like makes me kind of doubt you as a person and your solidity as a character. And I think that's really valid.
Who knows which character you're going to get that day? Who knows who's going to talk to you in response? I don't know. I think you need like a bit of consistency in people. I think you need consistency. I think you can't really pull off a relationship unless you're certain that the person you're speaking to is like at least relatively secure in like their values, behaviors, and personality.
I think that's it, because when you kind of send someone, like, that would be like the biggest flag for me, when you feel like their values are switch because it's too much. Because essentially, like, that's a sign of like a good partner, that like there's many different sides to that person, and it's exciting to get to know them. But when you're just faced with like, kind of unconvincing, like, kind of badly played versions of something like a personality, that's terrifying, you know.
Yeah.
And you don't have you don't have any solid ground there. I think that's the problem. Have variety, like you want someone to be lots of different versions of themselves, and be crazy, and sometimes be really like serious, and
of course in
between. But
not like 20 different times in the same day with a different voice and a different like outfit to go with it as well. Yeah, and I hope it all turns out okay.
Yeah, just move on. I feel like that's always implicit, that like maybe the person that this person's asking a question about needs some mental health support, but like,
it's not my job.
We're very pro therapy in this podcast.
Okay, we do the next question. I think we've landed on that, which is just like, don't trust this, it's weird. No.
Check their passport and see if it's the same name.
Check if they've got like 7 or 8 passports.
Secret family in another county.
Yeah, orphan black. But the next question is, my boyfriend went out with a girl before me who looks so much like his sister that I can't unsee it. And the problem is that I don't look dissimilar to that girl.
So what you're telling me
should I bring this up, or should we break up?
You know, healthy relationships can happen between people and other people that look like their siblings.
No, they can't!
They can! I know a couple, I'm not going to name names, but they're pretty happy together, just had a baby.
Adam, that's disgusting.
No, it's lovely.
It's not lovely, are you kidding?
Well, it's not lovely that she looks like his sister, but...
Yeah, that baby's going to just look exactly like his sister. He's
or like
bred.
his sister's baby.
I cannot say, I don't think, you don't have a sister. I cannot say how disturbing it would be to find out that Joseph was going out with a girl that looks exactly like me. Like, I cannot tell you, especially because Joseph and I look identical. Like, that would be disturbing on so many counts that it would be impossible for me not to say something. Never mind the girlfriend. Like, if I met a girl and she was the mirror image of me, and not just the mirror image of me, but the mirror image of Joseph's ex-girlfriend as well.
Yeah, that's not a scenario you'd like to find yourself in.
No, it's like beyond absurd, this situation.
Essentially, our advice is, this is beyond absurd. Get out while you still can. Lie on his future partners and maybe send them like an anonymous letter if she also looks like his sister. You don't know who I am, but I'm trying to help you.
From the past.
Yeah, maybe like carve it into his wardrobe, like handmade style.
In Latin.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine anything more disturbing than that. One of my friends was talking to me about how worried he is as a gay man that he will end up going out with someone who looks like a lot like him. Because he's attracted to like him, basically. Yeah. He just thinks that he's like quite attracted to like the aesthetic that he has.
I think it's okay. I'm not that against it. Like,
I'm so against it.
I think it's okay. I think it's okay for someone to go out with someone that looks like their sister, as long as the people involved aren't uncomfortable. Like, if I think in principle, if it gives you the willies, it's different from like, I don't like if it was happening to you and you were in that situation, I would be like, you know, this doesn't work for you. But like, if it's just like, do you know what, this is a bit strange, I'd like to address it, just say it out loud and just like hear what your thoughts are on it. Go from there. But I feel like it's not necessarily like a deal breaker. How
would this conversation go for you? So like, I'm going out with you and you found out that you look
Mhm.
identical to my brother and identical to the last person that I went out with as well.
Well, I don't know if this is helping, but you know, you want to talk about something serious, and you kind of go, "Do you know what's funny?"
No.
And you go, "Do you think? Have you ever like thought that like I look a bit like your ex-girlfriend, and then be like, and that your ex-girlfriend looks a bit like your sister?"
If someone brought that up to me as a joke, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, this
It's
is
not
really
the way to do it.
fucked up. Like, is this supposed to be a sex thing? Is this supposed to be a joke? Like, what? How am I supposed to be feeling with this? Is it funny?
I mean, it's essentially what we want to avoid here is children of siblings. That's the main thing that's, you know, ethically bad. But like
What?
anything that's not that, it's just like, you know,
No! No, it's not frowned upon. It's flat out. Adam! No! You can't
definitely disagree on this.
You can't be encouraging people to have aesthetic incest with, like, sister clones.
I'm not encouraging.
You
I'm
are
just not discouraging them.
I think if you've noticed it at all, you need to get out. This is mad. This is crazy.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. Just like if you're okay with it, he's obviously okay with it. He's very happy with himself.
He's like triple okay with it. He's triple okay with not just fancying his sister, fancying another girl like a sister, and then fancying you, the third sister. I hope that feels really nice.
But maybe it's just a coincidence that other girl looked like a sister, and the more relevant. Oh no, you can't really. There's no. That's weak.
Maybe the three of the sisters should meet up together and just see how many people ask if they're sisters.
Ooh.
Maybe you can like try and pull it like that and just see if these worries are in your head or not. Because I think that's too far gone, Adam. That is too far gone.
No, it's fine.
I'm not even attracted to bald men because they remind me of my brother. Like, I can't do it.
I think I can see the reasons why, you know, I think the implication that that person wants to have sex with their sister might make someone uncomfortable.
Yeah,
but I mean,
they're
not having sex with their sister. They might not even be aware of it. I mean,
no,
you don't want to break this person, you might break them.
That's more disturbing. It's more disturbing if they've had a series of relationships with their sister and they don't even know.
But also, it's like, you know, like you can just find your sister pretty, you know, and you might be like, you're just a pretty person, and I think that's a way for a woman to be pretty, and I'm attracted to other pretty women.
That's insane. Can I just say now,
defense.
That's insane. I think my sister is so pretty that I want to work with women that look like my sister. Are you joking?
I mean, you don't have to like. I guess it's the way that I can see it being a problem is that it's twice. And I think it's that thing of like, you shouldn't like, you know, actively knock someone out of a potential relationship because they look like your sister.
Yes, you should.
But so if it's just like a one-off, I'd be like, don't worry about it. Like, you don't have to like, you know, block them off in a very artificial way. But I guess since it's twice, it seems more like an active hunt for a
sister clone,
you know,
a doppelganger. Yeah, I think it's fucked. I think Adam's advice should be thrown out the window.
Let's put it to the story.
Yeah, we'll do a story vote. But I just think that's like bananas. I think it's bananas. I think it's irretrievable. I think you're going out with someone who's into incest.
Love the one you're with.
Love someone else. This is weird. This is just so weird. And also just think of like how you'd feel if you have siblings. Think about how you'd feel, or not even siblings, how you would feel if someone looked like your parents, either one of your parents, and you just started shagging them, you know? And you're just having sex with one of your parents. You just need to think about whether or not that's okay.
But what if it's just that he's looking for like the girl version of him?
That's really weird.
Yeah.
And I think it's weird that my friend's attracted to people who have the same aesthetic type as him. I think it's weird. I think everyone should be trying to like jumble it up a bit, you know? I think it's weird and narcissistic, or it's weird and incestuous. I think
it's quite good to this because essentially, do what you want to do, and at least 50% of this podcast goes just to support you. I think I definitely agree with you on maybe bringing it up if it's coming to mind.
Bring it up. How could you not bring it up?
Go from there, you know?
I would just say a few people have mentioned to me, because that way it's kind of a get out of jail free card. Usually, like, yeah, a few people have mentioned just to be like, this is verified.
Yeah.
That I look a lot like your ex-girlfriend, and that your ex-girlfriend looks a lot like your sister.
Yeah.
And then hopefully those dots will join. And just be like, it's making me uncomfortable. A, that's a thought people are having, and B, that's like a thing in our relationship. Yeah. Unless it's not making you uncomfortable and you emailed an Agony App podcast because you're totally fine with it. Really, but
if it's just like irking you, you know, it might just be irksome.
I think it's a mess. This is going to break the podcast.
It's going to be the... Yeah,
Adam's not coming back anymore.
It's got sacked.
Adam got sacked from the podcast. For
irreconcilable differences.
Truly, conscious uncoupling.
Yeah.
If you do what one of us says, you'll have our support. That's true. 50-50.
And if it all works out and you've done what I've been suggesting, please write in again and let us know.
Please write in again and let us know how this goes, honestly. I would love to hear it, and I'd love to see photos. So, we'll move on to the next question. If Adam's comfortable ending the episode without pay. Next question is, it's been a while since I broke up with a long-term partner. I had them on socials and didn't want to see them for a while. But the other day I visited their page for the first time in ages and received an error message. But when I went on my desktop, it was all good. It's a public profile. So I essentially found out that I've been blocked. There wasn't that kind of bad blood as the last word, but it stung a bit and it's left me with some questions. Do I check in with them and just see what's going on? I'd like to know if they think I've been terrible, but also aware that that's probably not super healthy.
I sometimes hate living in this world of 2020. It's just such an unnecessary revelation.
Revelation and little stab, little wound.
Yeah. It's like keeping it in the freezer, isn't it? And then accidentally defrost them and they'd just be like, what the hell is that smell? Like,
it's just rotten.
You didn't need it. Yeah. Especially if it's like, it's the first time in a while, you'd be like, do you know what, it's not a big deal, I'm just going to go and see this person in their profile. And then just being like, recapitulate.
Yeah.
I think, I just think the person kind of answers their own question. That opinion is no longer of any relevance in your life after that point. If it really has been a kind of haven't talked in a while, and while it can sting a bit, I think that's more kind of that's more to do with feelings than kind of actionable intentions that need to be taken forward. I think it's just nurse that by yourself. And
I think it's not for you to contact them about it.
No,
especially if they're the one that's blocking you. The message there is that they don't want contact.
Yeah.
Not that they're not that they're keen for you to reestablish it.
I hear you blocking me. I feel I should respond.
Literally.
That's dumb.
I think you need to hear from me.
Grow up.
I think what you and I need, now you've cut me out of your life, is a chat. That's not okay for me.
Why?
I think anytime anyone blocks someone, you kind of need to take it seriously, you know?
Yeah, I think so.
And I think if it's says in the message, let me read the message. Yeah. There wasn't that kind of bad blood as the last word in the relationship. But I don't think that means that someone's like totally fine now and is happy to be like just seeing you all the time. And I think there is a difference between like hiding someone on socials and like actually just like blocking them, because if you hide someone you can always find them again.
I
and
guess
go and have a look at them, and it, like, if you're tending to wounds or if you've got a little broken heart, you're really likely to do that. You're likely to do that quite often. And like, I think,
I guess you're just like less likely to like, because I just wonder, because I think with the mechanics of the block, it's a bit more one way, isn't it? It's a bit more like you can't see me, but I'll still see you. Or is it? Because I feel like hiding is much more like I don't want to see you, whereas blocking is like I don't want you to see me.
Yeah, that's true. Because if you hide someone, then like you're still around. I guess you're still like, and I guess that's kind of a kinder way, especially if the relationship didn't end with bad blood, to just separate and just be like, we're both hidden, but we're not like dead to each other.
Yeah. Also, I guess it's just like when you break up with someone, like they're gonna have their own version of it that they need to get through it, and it doesn't necessarily reflect on who you are, and it's more to do with like you're just not on that person's journey. I've said this a few times. You're not on that person. Like you're not with them anymore. Literally,
you're not responsible for them, and then they're not responsible for you either.
And if they want to kind of cast you as something in their kind of narrative of their life, even if it's unhealthy, like you don't have to get involved. Like that's kind of the joy of it, that you can just let them simmer away and boil over if you need to.
There's a caveat to this, I think, because one of my friends found out that their ex was telling people that she cheated, which like wasn't true at all. Like couldn't have been further from the truth. Like there was this whole like they broke up and it seemed like an amicable breakup, and it was like my friend that did the dumping. And like she didn't have another relationship for like 6 months maybe, like after that, because it was quite a long-term thing, but it was like, and it wasn't someone's done something terrible breakup, it was just like an end to things effectively. And then this person, she found out like through the grapevine that someone had been like, we found out that you cheated, and she was totally blown away by that and totally like shocked because it was so far from the truth. But then she couldn't get in touch with that person because it was another like blocking situation. Like she just couldn't get in touch with them to be like, why the fuck are you telling people I cheated on you? That's not true. And it's making people think that I'm a complete cunt. And then because we were kind of talking about it, and we were saying that you do just kind of have to like let that go and just tell people it's not true, and you tell them just like hope and just encourage other people to tell people that it's not fucking true. Because I think that is a cruel thing to do, and I think but it is just someone else trying to make sense of a breakup if they feel like it came out of nowhere. But I think it's some bullshit.
I think that's it. Like you kind of, it's just that thing of, it can be a very like interior process of I need this person to just like fit into the angry songs that I like to listen to in these moments, and I need you to like be that person so I can like get catharsis. But like, I think spreading that and kind of actively, sharing something that you know not to be true, that's when it's just wrong and you're just being evil. And
even if you think it's true, you have absolutely no right to tell people that. Like you've absolutely no right to make that up about someone else's life. I think that was like incredibly shit to do. But I think it was also like, and also really telling of the fact that they couldn't accept that they just like weren't an appealing prospect in their relationship anymore. And they had to come up with like a reason. Like there was this other person that came and like lured her away. Instead of just being like, no, this isn't for me anymore. Like, and it is a reflection on you, basically. It is a reflection on like you and how we are as a couple. So they had to come up with this like bizarre scapegoat that cast her as like a total villain and excised like him of any responsibility.
And I guess the other part of it is that like, just trying to kind of get into the mechanics and technical side of it. When someone blocks you, like that isn't necessarily like it's not meant to be a hurtful thing. Like like the whole way they do blocking is so that you like
you don't get a notification,
have no idea that it's happened, and it's meant to just be like, oh, what's this strange thing's going on. And I think it's just kind of bringing it back down to like the nuts and bolts of the situation, and not, because essentially what you're dealing with is like, you know, a kind of non-gesture or something. Like, I don't know how to, it's just something that can like hold a lot of projections and like neuroticisms, and I think in that moment, you know, you just have to be like, I need to step back from this and not let it affect me in any way, because if it was designed to kind of be a dig at you, it's a really weak one. But in a very objective way, it's like, it's nothing to do with you, like, you know, not really. It's not someone kind of sending something your way or doing anything, and like, I think there's a lot to read into it, but essentially like the healthiest thing to do would just be like, this is for that person. I don't have any responsibility to that person because I didn't want to, or like that's kind of what that status we're in now.
And also, that's really true about them like not explicitly going after you. But I have like I put myself in the eye. One for the Patreon. Me poking myself in the eye.
Let's get that gift.
Like, I think because I do know people that have been like sent a message before someone blocks them to be like, I'm blocking you because it's better for me in our relationship and like us going forward. I know we said that we were just gonna hide each other, but it's like, it's not really enough for me, and I need to cut you out properly to make a clean break.
Yeah.
What do you think about that as like the middle ground of those two things, in terms of like this sort of almost passive detachment versus a more active, like, conscious uncoupling?
Yeah, I think it is. I guess it's just like the timeline of it. Like, if you've kind of broken up and kind of like not had contact,
it's been a while.
Starting contact to kind of say, I'm going to block you is strange. But like, I guess, yeah, if that was, it seems like if you kind of didn't end on a bad note, but you did very much end and you haven't had contact, it's just part of that package of it, you know? Like, it's just one way to kind of gain emotional distance from someone, to be like, oh, I'm going to like block them, you know? And I think it's just, I feel like, I think the annoying part of it would just be like, well, I didn't want to get in contact with you in the first place. It's just like, oh, like, that's annoying.
Checking up on you, like, I see that, but also like, you have to wonder, in the words of Carrie Bradshaw, you have to wonder like what there might be on your profile that would make someone who was like formerly in a romantic relationship not want to see that anymore. And like not even be on the off chance of like bumping into it.
Yeah.
Which is an important thing to remember, especially if they're in like a very different place from you at like the end of your relationship. And like, regardless of how long it's been, there are things that are always going to sting, and there are things that are always going to piss people off. Like finding out someone you were with is now engaged, or like finding out someone you're with is like suddenly like they've got a girlfriend and the girlfriend's pregnant, and like all that kind of thing. And like they were formerly someone who was like, I'd never want kids. But you know, it's pretty cinematic. But, like,
and just, I think, bearing in mind that very specific phrasing of it, which is like, this isn't, when you hide someone, it's so you don't see them, and then when they block you, someone that doesn't want to be seen. And like, I think that's such a like specific frame of mind to be in, and like, you know, it's quite, you know, it sounds very tender, you know, if someone doesn't want to be seen, you know, it's quite a scary place to be when you're that person where you don't want to be looked at and like you just want to hide away. Like, it's quite a disturbing kind of point to find yourself in. Like,
and also, it's lockdown. People are having a shit time at the moment. People don't necessarily want to be like on social media. People don't necessarily want like, because I know that a lot of people that I fault like that are just on the Breaking Up podcast Instagram, because I don't have a personal one, so normally like there are stupid fucking videos of me pretending to be in Shrek's bed and all that kind of thing.
Oh my god, I love that. That like, whole cycle.
Bizarrely well received.
It was such an arc. It was perfect. The kind of watch Prince am I with.
But like
hiding from behind a TV.
Yeah, I just know that like most of the people who put up stories that I am like following because I'm friends with them have a close friends like setting even on their normal Instagram story, like they want to just show like people in their private life, and I think that's completely sensible and completely understandable. And I think, I don't know, it's almost in my mind thinking of someone like in that state who would want to block an ex from a while ago is the kind of person that's like not wanting to be seen on social media and is struggling with social media in like a very, very like fragile time for everyone's engagement with everyone.
Yeah.
Like if you go on your feed, you want your feed to be just what you want to see. You want to be seen by just the people you want to see you.
Yeah.
Because we had a scary moment with that, definitely. Like a guy who assaulted someone in my life looked at the Breaking Up podcast Instagram story and really fucked me up, and it made me like go off the Instagram for like weeks, made me like feel uncomfortable about going back on, and it's just this weird, it's such as you're right about it being like a 2020 like horror like lens on like really like crisis in any sort of relationship, whether it's platonic or romantic. But yeah, I think a block is a cessation of contact, at least for now, and it might not be forever as well. Like it's not permanent.
Yeah. Like, I think it's just that feeling, because I just even thought of like if someone is like tagged by a mutual friend, then you kind of have that worry that like you're gonna like show up, you know, in that person's story, and if you just really don't want to be seen. Yeah, and you don't want. I suppose it's not even like not being seen, but not even like worrying. Like if you show your face, that it's going to make its way to that person. You just want to release yourself from that. That's kind of something that, it's not necessarily malicious. It's not that you've been terrible, even if that is like the kind of melodramatic reading of that. And I think unless that person's like came at you with that, then like, just assume that you've not been. Like I just think it's very unhealthy to be like, but what did you mean by like I think this person's already like suggested like it's not a healthy attitude, and it's more about feeling a bit stung in the moment rather than it is.
But I think that completely makes sense. Like I think it's really hard to find that a relationship you thought was kind of okay, even if it wasn't ideal, is being kind of, I don't know, like percolated through as like a situation of like quite intense injury for someone. And it is totally natural, I think, to be like, should I just check that I haven't been awful and I haven't been like grossly upsetting because I never meant to be. Like I think that's like a nice response to that. But it is also quite like a narrow one in terms of like your worries versus like the situation.
I think do check in, but not with the person. Like check in with like objective observer. It's just like, do you know what? I was there. I saw this. You're fine. Like that person might not be fine in their own world, but like it's not for you to like carry with you.
No, and also like it just seems really sort of retroactive to like go back and be like, well, what might I have done? What maybe has like instigated this response? Like you haven't got control over how other people feel about you, and that's kind of it. Like even if you really want someone to feel great about you, as Carrie Bradshaw also has taught us, you can't make it happen. We do have a Sex and the City special lined up coming up shortly.
We also have one in the bank as well.
Oh my god, I think we mentioned it. We mentioned it on the podcast before. It was like a tragic pilot episode where we kept like reenacting scenes, and neither of us have any qualifications in acting whatsoever, and that really comes across, especially because I gave such a lackluster performance because of my uncertainty about the process.
And I went the other way. So through my uncertainty process, I really like started going for that kind of screaming false American accent place.
Yeah, and I was like just saying lines. It was awful. It was the most like cat dog response. But that won't be happening in the second round, and we're buzzing for it.
Yeah.
And we've got a special guest coming for that as well. But
I'm extremely keen.
Yeah, the next one.
Special guest, special person.
Special guest, special person. Cannot wait. And also just the makeup's gonna be amazing. But anyway. That's a hint. But
that's a spoiler.
The roundup, I guess, for this question is that you can't control someone else's response to you breaking up with them. And if someone blocks you, they don't want to get in contact with you, so don't try and like pester them for answers about why they don't like think of you very fondly in the aftermath of a breakup.
This is good advice. Yeah.
But any other notes for that? I think you did I think we worked through it.
Yeah. It's a very complicated one.
Yeah,
it's a thinker.
It's a thinker.
Yeah. But yeah, I very much appreciate your advice. It's the right one. The right piece of... It's correct.
Okay, on to our final question, which I think is also a thinker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in my first relationship and it's nothing like how I expected it to be. I'm worrying that it's so different from how I imagined it that it's not how it's supposed to be.
Oh.
Should I break up with him and wait for the real thing?
Well, this is quite like epistemological.
It's Schrodinger's cat.
Yeah. I think the main thing I hear in this is someone having reservations about a relationship but not feeling like they have the confidence or the experience or the security to trust their intuitions. It's a total valid question to be a bit like, am I struggling with like the fact I'm in a relationship, or am I struggling with this relationship?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the best thing to do in that situation is to break up, because I think you just need to rinse it off. Like, it's your first relationship. If you're not feeling great in it, that'd be the real question. It's like, do you feel good in this relationship? Not like, is it what you expect? If it's not what you expect, and
that it's bad,
great, then it's not a problem. You know? Well, yeah.
If it's not what you expect, because it's awful. That's not it. And like, I think, I don't know, it's just such a it's so different to how I expected it to be. And I'm thinking about like what my expectations for romance were in my first relationship, and it was basically just that I would feel like sexually and romantically attracted to someone, and we'd go places together, and we'd like really just enjoy ourselves, and we just get each other in a very specific way.
Yeah. If
your expectations are a bit different, like if you did have like very set expectations, then I don't know. I think my advice would be like, you need to think about like where they came from. We spoke a moment ago about me being in bed with Shrek. Maybe that's a good good jumping off point. Because I think there are still people that expect relationships to have a certain like formality to them.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think, there's a long time, when you just kind of like let go of like the things you thought were going to happen when you were a kid in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's so funny because like really recently, it's becoming a bit of a catchphrase. I'll just be like, oh my God, like I'll be with Laurie and I'll be like, oh my God, Kid Adam would be really happy about this. Like just certain things are happening. And I think that's a really valid like aspiration to shoot for. Like it's like don't. I think so often I remember this like horrible like fact I was told, where it was like, you know, rom-coms are really messing women's expectations up of romance. They have these unrealistic expectations for relationships, and it's just like, actually, I think it's important to like aim high.
Yeah.
Like if this isn't what you want it to be, this relationship, and you think, you know, you wanted better, go and find it, especially if it's like your first relationship. Like, I don't think like your first relationship is when you like hunker down and really work on. You know, like,
it's a trial and error one, basically.
Yeah.
Like, it's the one where you work out what it is you want, and then like, I'm worrying that it's so different that it's not how it's supposed to be. I think anytime I find myself in a situation where I'm like, this is not where I'm supposed to be, or this is not how I'm supposed to be feeling, or this is not like what's supposed to be going on.
Yeah.
Then it's a big sign of something like it's really, really out of whack.
Yeah.
Like that sensation of being like, this isn't right, wherever it comes from, basically. is something to be listened to, like 100%. So what you were saying about Kid Adam, like Harlem Bon Iver was playing in the background, and I was like, wow, 15-year-old me is probably like.
Yeah, it's those moments. Yeah. Aim for that. You know, like, don't settle.
No, like, and don't. I think it's good to have standards.
Yeah.
Like, the game of relationships isn't supposed to be to, like, lower your standards to the point where you're just, like, with someone who's treating you, like, kind of badly, who, like, never does anything you want to, who, like, isn't making you feel, like, good and is making you feel like things aren't right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, that's not the dream. Like,
it's I think it's been in that moment of, like, when you're just in kind of like your first relationship, and it's like, oh, this is all a relationship has ever been in my life. And you do kind of just have to use your imagination a bit and shoot for that. And I think we're really, like, we're not really taught to do that a lot, which is like to imagine what you want and go for it. But I think in those moments, it's really important that you do so, because you'll end up just being stuck in something for longer than you want it to be. Like, you're gonna get out of this. Like, I think it's pretty obvious that it's not gonna last. So, like, just do it sooner rather than later. And it's hard to find the confidence and the courage to do that, especially because, like, your main person at the moment that you maybe measure yourself against is the very one that you want to be rid of. So, like, that's a difficult one to do, especially the first time you do it, because it just feels like you're breaking the rules. But it just has to be done. Yeah,
and it feels like rules are already being broken for you in this situation.
Feels like don't compromise yourself.
Yeah, I back that completely. If you do have, like, slightly ridiculous expectations, if this is a situation where you're like, I thought I would be taken out all the time, I thought I was going to be waiting on hand and foot, I thought someone was going to, like, make a princess out of me a la Pete Davidson, and that's not what's happening, then you do just need to be like, is that what should be happening? And the answer is kind of no. But if you want to be, like, treated well, if you do want to get taken out for dinner every now and again, or if that's just the dynamic that you're both happy with, then that's a one thing. Yeah. But if your expectations are basically that someone else is going to slot into your life and behave exactly as you think they should and want them to constantly, and they're not doing that, then break up with them anyway, because they're not doing what you want. That's not, and they're not giving you what you want. But you have to think about whether or not what you want is a reasonable expectation.
Completely. Yeah, I think that's an important other version of that, which is like, what you want, not necessarily being, like, completely valid, but, like, I think in most situations, especially in your first relationship, it really sounds as though you just kind of want something sincerely and, like, for good reasons, in a very solid gold heart way. And, like, I think that's what you need to follow up on. And I think strategically the best thing you should do is take the person who you trust the most that isn't the person you're with, tell them what you're thinking, and I think they'll undoubtedly be on your side if they're a good friend. And then that's, like, a really nice way to find the confidence to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's hard to kind of say it out loud, but
Sorry. No, don't be sorry. I'm just remembering, like, uni boys' flats where you go in and there's, like, a mattress on the floor. There's, like, a tweet about this that I'll try and find and I'll post on the Instagram. But, like, literally, like, mattress on the floor, they have one cup, one plate, they don't clean it. And, like a date is, like, going to the pub with their friends, and then you just come back and have sex. And, like, it's not worth hanging on to, even if they're really funny. It's not worth hanging on to.
Yeah.
And even if you like the friends, that's not, like, the
one. Maybe you just want to be their friends.
Yeah, maybe you just want to be friends with everyone there.
And I feel like that's, like,
have to go back to their, like, horrible flats and have a shit time.
Yeah, it's so important for people to just call out people's terrible lifestyles.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I think it's a rite of passage for people that are living that way. We're just like, do you know what? This isn't good enough for me, and I'm not going to present it as. Your room smells.
Yeah, you said in the last episode that someone told you that your view wasn't great once. Yeah. And you thanked them for it.
Yeah. It wasn't sexy. It wasn't rugged. It was just unhygienic. And I needed to be told that.
Yeah. But I think you should always, like, tell people if they smell weird. and like have a weird manky flat. There's an easier version of this where it's just like, yeah, but twits people go together and they can just live in like a bin together and live like rats and it's fine for them because they don't care. But they shouldn't. Like,
yeah. You need to shout at those people from across the street and just be like, hey, get yourself together. I don't like looking at you today.
But yeah, I think this person deserves what they want, unless what they want's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
And just like go and find that out. Don't like, pre-censor your desires because you think you're being too much.
Yeah, and equally that's a good point as well, like in terms of pre-censoring yourself. If you're like, this is what I want, and that person just has no idea because you have been like just being at the pub with their friends and like that's just what they think's like fine and they have no relationship experience either.
Yeah.
Like, I guess this is it kind of thing. Then like just telling them and being like, this isn't what I want this, and if you want this, I thought that if we both did that, but if you don't want that, then we should both just be going out with someone else.
That's it. We're not ugly people.
We're not ugly people. Carol, 2015. Yeah.
So good.
So good. Well, I think that's all of our Agony Aunt questions for the week.
That's us. That's a wrap.
Us. That's a wrap. I hope you've all enjoyed it. If you want to follow us on Instagram, it's @BreakingUpPodcast. If you want to email us in a question, it's breakinguppodcast@gmail.com. If you have any recommendations, if you want to sponsor us, you can also get our Patreon now. I set up a Patreon, and one of the most hilarious offers on the Patreon is that if you pay 70 quid, you get like all the kind of bonus content, blah, 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 blah. But you can also phone me for 15 minutes and I'll talk to you about your relationship.
Yes! I was just about to say we should do a phone call for that. That's amazing. Yeah, because that's like basically what we do for each other. So you can get in on this. Yeah, so if you want like a private call and you don't want it to be aired because you're a bit embarrassed or you just feel a bit strange about strangers talking about you on the internet, then do that. But if you kind of want strangers to talk about you on the internet and you want a totally objective standpoint, email us. We love it. Okay. Thanks very much. You can join me and a guest next time and me and Adam the time after that. See you later. Thanks so much. See you later.
Bye.